What's going on, everybody? This is John J Gaming on the mic here, coming at you with a brand new episode of the Lions franchise here on Madden 22, using that PS5, of course. And we made it to the offseason, man. We are out here. Our season's done. We do not get any playoff action here. We definitely got some things that we need to work on. We need to fill in some stuff, trying to make some free agency splash here in the offseason, as well as figure out what to do with the quarterback position. I don't think Jared Goff is the answer, but do we try to trade for somebody, or do we try to go about finding somebody through the draft? So we're going to sort through all of it out. It's going to be a good off-season episode, and if you're excited for it, make sure you smash that like button and hit subscribe as well if you happen to be brand new as well. As we go ahead, and we do get some great news to start off this episode. We do find out that we actually get an extension on our contract. We get a 4-year deal for $7 million. I'll certainly take that. So we get a lot more time to go ahead and, at least work with that. But then there's also some things I want to do. I think offensively, we were okay. We are fine, with passing and rushing the football. But defensively, we did a terrible job with defensive passing yards per game. So I think it's time for us. First things I want to do is offseason, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this defensive coordinator, man. Dean Fuller, he's simply not it at the end of the day. So we will go ahead and look for a defensive coordinator. And we got a lot of going on here, man. There's a lot of ways that we can, go about it. Just looking for some guys that maybe, would work pretty well for us. Craig Taylor, could be something promising, but it's something that we'll have to look at later. So we actually do go ahead and sim, through the playoffs, just to see what ended up happening. And we go ahead and take a little look at the season recap. And it looks like the Dallas Cowboys, they did end up taking on the Cleveland Browns in the Super Bowl. And the Cowboys did end up winning. They won 55-39. It was a really big offensive shootout. One for the ages, I would imagine. So Dallas wins their 6th Super Bowl, and then Dak Prescott does end up getting named MVP. Christian McCaffrey over the Carolina Panthers, he ends up winning NFL MVP. Mike McCarthy, obviously Coach of the Year. They were like 15-1 or like 16-1. McCaffrey also won Offensive Player of the Year as well. Myles Garrett, who was on the Browns and played in the Super Bowl, he won Defensive Player of the Year. And then we didn't have any rookies win Offensive or Defensive Rookie of the Year. Trevor Lawrence won it for the Jaguars. He was the Offensive Rookie of the Year. And then the Defensive Rookie of the Year was for outside linebacker Jamin Davis of the Washington Football Team. So we didn't get any of that, but we'll go ahead and check out the stats for our guys. Now we're talking about stats, around the league, all that good stuff. And starting with our guys, starting with passing, Jared Goff was really the only quarterback that took snaps for us. He was healthy, so that's a real good thing for him, but he did not do a very good job of taking care of the football. And I'm saying that very lightly. He did have 3,400 yards passing, but 28 interceptions, so only 24 touchdowns. That simply cannot happen, man. Like we can't have that, like straight up and down. Like we need something better than that. So not only do we need a new starting quarterback, but I think we need some better backups as well, as we are lucky that David Blow or Tim Boyle didn't have to come into the game at any point, because I don't think either of them are good backups, so I think we need an upgrade there. On the other hand, I think we do find some pieces that we can build around on the offensive side of football. DeAndre Swift, I think, really needs to be one of them. He had almost 300 carries, but had 1,400 yards on the ground. He ended up with 9 touchdowns. He was absolutely electric on the ground. Jamal Williams did some good stuff. Jared Goff was pretty solid as well on the ground, although he had 6 fumbles as well. So not only did he have 28 interceptions, he also lost 6 fumbles. Again, it was just one of those things there. He was just too many turnovers. He was a turnover bakery, and we just cannot have that for a team that's so young. So we need a new quarterback that's going to be a little bit more protected with the football. Maybe even draft a rookie. We'll see if we can go ahead and try and trade up, but I don't want to release Jared Goff. I want to see if we can trade him maybe to somewhere else. But as for our receivers, we do have a couple of receivers that we can work with. Tyrell Williams actually turned out to be really good as the #1 receiver. 73 catches, 919 yards, and 11 touchdowns. That was really nice to see. TJ Hawkinson as well. We got him the ball more often in the second half of the season, and that really proved dividends. 749 yards and 2 tubs. Brashard Perriman and Quintez Chavez. And also the backup tight end, Charlie Temempu, all ended up with like 3 touchdown grabs themselves. And then even DeAndre Swift got into the end zone, and so did Jamal Williams through the air. So that was really nice to see. So Tyrell Williams, TJ Hawkinson, and DeAndre Swift, that might be our big 3. Would love to try to add a weapon or 2 here in the off season. We'll see what happens with that. One thing that I am pretty happy about overall, though, is this offensive line. The offensive line overall, actually did play pretty well for us. We know that offensive line is not necessarily the problem for us. I think, granted, Penei Sewell did allow 11 sacks, but you got to think, this was a guy that Jared Goff, he would scramble to his right. So some of those sacks were just from Jared Goff, like scrambling to the right and then just like running into a sack right there without throwing the football away. But overall, the offensive line actually played pretty well and, got some pretty solid run support. I'll say like the offensive line is probably our best unit. We might make a tweak or 2 at the offensive line, but we'll see what goes there. And then defensively, we got some young guys. We definitely have a younger defense. This is probably one I want to focus on more. Not only get weapons on offense, but really just get some veterans just all around this defense, and as well as maybe focus on that in the draft as well. Tracy Walker and Jamie Collins both had over 100 tackles, which is really cool to see. When 2 of your top 3 tacklers are safeties and 5 of your top 6 are corners, it just shows how often that we've got beaten in pass defense. And some of that is screen related, and some of it's just because like guys just aren't where they need to be yet. Like Quinn Dunbar, for example, he's a vet, but he got beat quite a bit of times. As the season did go on, though, we did a better job overall of getting to this quarterback. Trey Flowers, for example, led the team in sacks, ended up with 7 sacks on the season. Joins 2 of our folks with 5 or more sacks, Julian Akura and Michael Brockers, ended up with 5+ sacks. We didn't have any star pass rushers, but we did have several guys step up and hit this quarterback, and that's reflected here, man. I think we were either like in the middle of the pack or at least like in the upper half in the NFL when it comes to getting sacks. But biggest issue for our defense is really the turnovers. We did not force many turnovers on defense. Will Harris and Amani Oruye are the only 2 players with more than 1 interception over the course of a 17-game season. That's just with the regular season. There would have been more if we actually went to the playoffs, but that didn't happen. Trey Flowers, Michael Brockers. We actually have plenty of guys that did end up getting an interception as well. In that second half, we just kind of like fell apart a little bit. Jelani Tavai, our backup linebacker from Hawaii, did end up forcing multiple fumbles and got multiple recoveries on top of that. We actually did recover most of the fumbles that we did end up forcing. It wasn't a lot, but 4 for 5 on like fumble recoveries, that's not bad either, and I'm glad we take that. So we get to the first round of this offseason, and we're at a point where we went ahead. We are a really young football team. I mean, that's like no secret whatsoever. So we actually don't have anybody retiring that's on the Lions team right now. Jimmy Graham does end up retiring. He had some great runs with the New Orleans Saints. DeMar Dotson, one of the offensive linemen for the Packers, he retires, and then so does Everson Griffin on the Minnesota Vikings. He will retire after 7 seasons. So that'll be it is what it is with all that. As for the re-sign player phase, so right now currently we have 65 players on this roster, but we're actually over the salary cap right now. We're over, it's like negative $7 million we have to work with. So that's why I really want to try to go about trading Jared Goff, because we don't really have much salary space to work with. And we're also at a point where I don't really want to sign any of these guys. Either they're not a scheme fit or they're just simply not good enough, man. Like I can't have like players like this like on our team. You know what I'm saying? So I'm actually going to let all of these guys walk. So really, no harm, no foul. All of the key players that I want to bring back, I've already signed stuff, to bring them back, right? So one thing that I do want to go ahead and try to take care of quickly is get a new defensive coordinator. I kind of went back on that a little bit here. Just kind of looking around and seeing who's available to maybe be a potential defensive coordinator for us down the road. We're looking around. Looks like there's 4 different guys that we could go with, and I think I'm gonna go with David Brown. He looks like he's the most experienced out of like this bunch of guys. He was with the Chargers previously, it looks like. Has like a big man focus, you know. Just seems like he has like the most seasoning out of these coordinators. I don't want like a new defensive coordinator by anything, so we're gonna go ahead and hire David Brown from the Chargers as our new defensive coordinator. I do like our offensive coordinator. He's certainly promising. And then Dan Campbell, we're not going to fire ourselves, right? So there's at least that. So we got 61 staff points to work with as well. But yeah, man, I think really like the thing we want to do, I want to see if we can try to make trades. Because if we can make a trade, that would be really helpful right now. But that might be in free agency 1 or something. So I'll go ahead and move on to the next stage and get to that point. So at this point, I wanted to go ahead, before I do anything trade related, I wanted to look to see if there was what teams are out there, what maybe could be looking for a potential quarterback. And looking towards the bottom first, I'm not worried about the Chicago Bears. They just got Justin Fields. It wouldn't make sense for him to go ahead and get another quarterback just yet. And the Colts have Carson Wentz, you know, so I'm not really like thinking about Carson Wentz all that much. But the Pittsburgh Steelers have Big Ben. He's 40-ish years old, it seems like. He is an old dude. And they don't really have a heir apparent right now because, you know, taking a look at their roster, you know, at this moment, you know, granted, you know, the Steelers definitely have some guys. I'm actually surprised that they, you know, finished where they did. Like, they got TJ Watt, they got Cameron Hayward, like, they got some dudes. But, you know, that being said, technically, they don't have any quarterbacks right now on this roster. So I don't know if that means like Big Ben's like gone, but they don't have anyone to play quarterback next season. So I think we should try to swing a trade with them. Maybe try to use Goff for like a 3rd overall pick. We'll actually go ahead and try that real quick, see if that actually would work or not. But we'll just have to wait and see. We'll go ahead and do a manual trade here because, you know, we trust ourselves, you know, in situations like this. Let's see, we need that 3rd overall pick. All right, so it does look like they do have a high amount of interest in Jared Goff, you know, because they don't have a heir apparent at quarterback. So we'll see if this trade would actually work. And it's pretty close. It is pretty close. So we might have to go ahead and maybe tack on another pick. Let me take a quick look at what we got like for our picks right now. Do we have like multiple picks that maybe we could give up? I want to try to avoid using like one of our 1st round picks that we already have, because like I said, I really want to try to go ahead and try to build through the draft going forward. But I do have a 1st round pick that I could use next season. So I think I might try to do that. I'll tack on a 2020, maybe not a 1st round pick, but maybe we like tack on like a 3rd round pick maybe for this draft. See if that maybe be enough to do it. Come on, take this offer. Oh, it's so close. We might have to tack on one more. You know, might give up just a little bit more draft capital. We'll tack on like a 4th round pick as well. See if that does it. All right, so for this 3rd overall pick, we're going to trade away Jared Goff, who isn't it for us. And then we're going to trade our 3rd round pick this season and our 2nd round pick next season. We'll see if this will actually do it. And let's go. We got the 3rd overall pick to work with, baby. Let's go, baby. I love to see it, man. I am so stoked right now. So that means we actually have an actual salary cap. We'll go ahead and see what's going on right now with our free agencies. Do want to go ahead and wow, look at this free agency class. There are some guys that are certainly available. I do want to go see what's available at quarterback for a time being. And one thing that I do want to do, because Teddy Bridgewater would be, you know, a little bit cheaper at this point, I'm going to try to go ahead and try to make an offer for Teddy Bridgewater. See, maybe you take this kind of deal. although we don't have enough salary cap to do that. So yeah, we might have to be a little bit more creative. We actually don't have a lot of salary cap to work with as well. Dude, can we even make this? We don't even have enough to make that kind of deal. Man, this is going to be a tough one to do. Maybe we are going to be doing everything through the draft. Maybe we won't be able to do much through free agency, even with getting rid of Jared Goff's contract. So that's a really tough pill to swallow. But thankfully for us, though, it looks like in this draft there is plenty of really good talent. We know that we need an edge rusher, as well as like a wide receiver, and it looks like we got some opportunity to do that. Owen Minshew, John Ben Quinn, and if I did get drafted by the Lions, they will end up at least almost being ready for that. But yeah, man, we'll go ahead and maybe sim to the draft and see what's going with that. One thing that I did end up doing was I did went ahead and made sure we signed at least one veteran. Matt Barkley, he's not the flashiest guy, but he is better than both the backups that we originally had to start last season. So he'll probably serve as our backup quarterback, and hopefully we can find ourselves a starter in this upcoming draft. But guys, it is officially that time. It is time for us to go ahead and start this draft, man. And I don't know like what it was with this particular draft, but we were they didn't show us the board till like we got to like just about like this point right here, which is all good and well. Thankfully GM did a real good job of scouting, so we got some stuff to work with here. This is what our draft board is going to be looking like going into this thing. We got quite a few choices that we have to work with here. So I'm really excited to see what we can do as we go ahead and check out the first pick. Justin McNeil is off the board. He is the first overall pick, ends up going to South Carolina, and then Gerard Stickson, he ends up being the second pick. So we're on the board now. I want to go ahead, see what we got available. I want to go quarterback here. And there's a bunch of quarterbacks. We could go either Justin Becker, or we can go ahead and go with Joshua Logan. Justin Becker is a guy, he's seen as a first round talent. They currently have him as like an early first rounder. And look at that throw power. A+ throw power, B+ B action, and seems to have a good arm, got a good bench press as well from San Diego State. Listen, we trade away Jared Goff for a reason. I think this is the pick that we got to go with. Gonna welcome Justin Becker on the squad. Says that we reached, but 75 overall, though, like for our starting quarterback of the future. It's going to be nice. It does suck, though. He only has a normal dev trait, so that's kind of unfortunate, but I am happy to have Justin Becker on the squad. So then we see some other picks go down. Owen Minshew, he was the first quarterback projected to be picked. He ends up going to the LA Chargers. So that's really interesting because they already got Justin Herbert. But we already know, anyone that has seen Madden in the Xbox One, PS5 generation now, is not the smartest, I would say. So we'll go ahead and just move on to the next pick. It looks like Jonathan McCain was selected from Penn State to be the player of the future. As we continue to skip ahead to the draft, go to the next user pick. We're finally on the board here once again for our second first round pick. As we look around, see what we still have available. We still got plenty of guys that we could still end up picking up here. We got like this middle linebacker. He's considered like a first round talent. I do want to go ahead and see what wide receivers looking like. There is a couple of wide receivers that we could go with between Leon Battle and Josh Foster. And then the other thing was right guard. Let's see what JJ Steffens, mid first rounder. What about these wide receivers? Leon Battle, they would be scheming for, he's a late first rounder. And then Josh Foster is also a late first rounder. So I know right guard was something that we wanted to address up in there. Dalen Fury would be a really good pickup as well. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, man. There's some good options out here, man. Jordan Gant's available as well. We could go in a bunch of different directions here. I do think what I'm going to end up doing is, I think, what's Jordan Gant? Mid first rounder. I guess we are midway through the first round. I'm gonna go with Jordan Gant. I think this is gonna be our choice here. And it says we reached there, 19th in true value, but drafted him in number 12. He's 675 overall, so, two solid players. At least we'll take that. Maybe not the best choice for us, but we did end up picking up a defensive lineman for us. And the thing is, though, we still have yet another first-round pick. This is our third first-round pick. We have a chance to really, make some splashes here. Let's see if we can find somebody that really can stand out, really make a difference for our team. And I mean, there's still a bunch of different ways that we can go about this. Just looking around, seeing what the first round talents are still looking like. And let's see, we could still go Josh Frazier. Josh Frazier is still available. Wide receiver is a point of need for us. I don't think we'll get him back, so I think this might be a little bit of a reach for us, but we do need another wide receiver. And look at this, Josh Foster, 76 overall here, and he's got a hidden dev trait. So I like what I'm seeing there for sure. We'll see what the rest of his draft has, but Josh Foster could be our next star for us here, man. So I like that. Get that taken care of. So we got a receiver to pair with Tyrell Williams at the very least. So we got that settled in our first round. And the thing is, we still got a bunch of other picks to make. Second round, we'll see what that has in store for us. And there's still some some first round talents that are available. I'm seeing a couple of first round guys here as well. I could pick up a teammate from San Diego State if I wanted to. There's a lot of good talent that is if I could find here in the second round for sure. But I'm seeing that there's a guy here that is considered a first round talent. Nick Edwards, could always, especially because he's a first round talent, especially. I think I want to go ahead and draft Nick Edwards in this situation. And it's a good pick for us. 77 overall, Nick Edwards. He's a second round pick as well. And he's probably, a top 10 player in this draft class. It's not a position of need for us, but I mean, can't ignore the talent if the talent is there, of course. So I love that pick. So the thing about this, we actually did not have a third or fourth round pick. So now we're out here in the fifth round. Definitely some selections that I want to try to make. See if we can go ahead, see what's still available at this point in time. See what else we got going on. Still got defensive lineman. Either pick up an offensive lineman, middle linebacker, or even a defensive back of some sorts. So at defense, let's see. So let's see what we got going on here. There is a middle linebacker that is considered a fourth round pick, but we haven't really scouted him out yet. Actually didn't really scout much of his out. Here we're kind of really just going ahead and taking some shots in the dark. I am intrigued though by Dennis Robertson. We don't have him scouted out, but he is considered a scheme fit for us. So could be a little bit of a shot in the dark for us moving forward. But we're gonna go ahead and take a shot on Dennis Robertson, and yeah, we kind of whiffed a little bit on that one. Only a 64 overall. Does fill a position of need for us though. Wish that pick ended up turning out just a little bit better, but it did not end up happening this way. As now we move on to our sixth pick in this draft. See, we have, I think, 2 more selections left here. These guys are still available. So that's a route that we could definitely, could go about doing. I want to see if there's an offensive lineman or a defensive back that we can go ahead and go for as well. We'll see what happens to be available here for it. And we do see quite a bit of guys that could be some decent scheme fits for us. So that would be cool. This strong safety though, he is considered a 4th round talent. We're here in the 6th round, So I think I might just go ahead and just take a little flyer on Bruce Clayton, see what he has in him, and he won't be considered that great either, only a 64 overall, but it'll be a little bit of a project, something that we could work on later on. And now we move on to our very last pick that we have in the 7th round. We have the second to last pick. It's basically like our, you know, hey, you made it to the NFL, but you probably won't make it to like an active roster or anything like that. Dylan Byrne, I want to look for an offensive lineman here, but we don't have like a lot of offensive linemen left that are like actually like scouted at this point. So it's another shot in the dark. Cole Coleman has like a decent like combine grade, 6.0 combine. He does have a pretty good 40-yard dash, second fastest left tackle here. He's a projected weight 7th rounder, and you know, for a 7th rounder, that's really not that bad. 63 overall. And that's actually going to wrap up our draft. That was our last pick that we had. So we're going to go ahead and see what we got in the draft recap. So at the end of the day, this is actually what our draft class is going to be looking like. And first our first two rounds were fantastic. Justin Becker, you know, looking pretty good. Jordan Gannett looks like a good player. Josh Foster is a good player. Nick Edwards, 77 overall. He's actually going to be the best player in our draft class, at least from an overall perspective. So I'm really excited about that. And then not having like a 3rd or 4th round pick. Granted, we did throw in our 3rd round pick for this season to get rid of Jared Goff's contract. But Dennis Robertson, only a 64. Bruce Clayton's a 64. Cole Coleman is a 63 overall. So I don't know if they'll make the team necessarily, but you know, they'll probably, maybe these 3 guys might be in like on the practice squad, and then we'll do some stuff, you know, with these guys for sure. Like Justin Becker, he's gonna start day 1. Like that's not gonna be a question whatsoever, you know. But hey, if you guys want to be a custom recruit here in this Lions franchise series, I will have 2 different templates set up. If you want to be a custom recruit and play for the Lions specifically, I'll have one template for that. But at the same time though, if there's not necessarily a player maybe on my team that's a rookie and you want to replace, but you still want to be a custom player, play for a different team, you know, there will be a second template for that. And then we'll kind of periodically check in, like, to see how like your custom player is doing. So anyways, that'll be linked down in the description. But with that being said, yeah, man, I really like this draft class going here. I can't wait to see what these guys can do on the field. But then one last thing that I did do before, you know, ending free agency is I went ahead and go after Joe Dahl, because frankly, I really did not like the depth that we had at that, you know, right guard position, and we couldn't really address it all that much in free agency. So hopefully he goes ahead and signs that deal. We'll see what happens there. But yeah, man, I think that's actually going to go ahead and end the offseason recap. Hopefully you enjoyed this. If you did, stop and smash that like button for me. Hit me up down in the comments below with what you think I should do moving forward with my Lions squad, as well as go ahead and take and you know, just give me some positive words of encouragement, you know. But yeah, next episode we will take a deeper dive into our what our team's looking like. We did improve as a squad. We're now a 79 overall, so we're getting better for sure. So I definitely like that. And we'll also play all of the preseason games. We'll probably play the moments for all 3 games. So a triple header coming up for you guys. Just kind of get a grasp of how our new team is looking. So yeah, I hope you're excited for it. And until then, I'll see you guys next time. Take care, everybody.